Hey, this is some maintenance on our 3-barrel electric Probat roaster, which is a fairly old one. Julio is doing the burners. This is the machine, and boy, right now I can't read it. It's a B3. Usually that shows the year. But these are old thermal wire burners, and we've maintained these. And you could change them, and especially if we somehow didn't have these, or we didn't get it in good condition or something, we would change it. But you know, our motto is whatever works. So Julio took off the barrels. You can take them off as a set. I was doing some maintenance, scraping out some of the airflow. So the way these work is that with the sort of old flap style is that you can control airflow through the drum by bypassing the drum in a sense, by manipulating the airflow in the back, which would then raise the heat in the drum, if I'm thinking correctly this early. So one of the things that's really cool is the way these are designed, the gearing and stuff, which is really seems to be the thing that they can't do anymore on new models of Probats and other roasters. They use kind of different forms of composite gearing and different things, because it seems like machining gears and this kind of the drive and the shaft is takes expert machining, which is at this point hand done, and you have hand made screws essentially and everything. So we were going to pull the top off. What we get is a lot of, let's see if I can get in here. Yeah, there you go. There's a lot of crud in here. Now you don't like seeing this in your roaster, but it's not that consequential in this case. It sure looks bad, but we'll clean that up. This is where your chaff tray is, which is right here. And yeah, we just have such good results with it. In fact, we still run it off the motor from Belgium where I bought it. We run it off the 50 hertz motor, which means that the drums are going to be rotating at a speed that's not intended, but we like it. We get good results. So the kooky thing about this is that I set it up with a solid state relay and a controller for the heat, and I don't control each drum independently. I control all three at the same time, and I put it in this kooky wooden box here. But it all works well, and what we do is we have an ambient thermometer that we put in here, and since sample roasting is wanting to control and get the same results from all burners, we didn't understand the need to set it up where each burner has its own controller. Now with gas, I think there's so many different things with gas and jetting and each burner being kind of fickle that you would definitely control it separately. And you'll see gas Probat roasters and stuff that people set up, like each one has gas pressure, each one has a controlling unit for each barrel, and that makes sense. For this, it didn't make sense, and it's worked very, very well for us. So that is a B3 electric Probat, and if I remember the year, B3 2784. It's Emmerich Rhine, which I think means that it's not so old as it may appear. But Probat, they probably made these for 40 years, 50 years with the same chassis. And once they probably cast, cast the metal parts and the steel parts and did the fabrication, they probably made a lot of them and had them available to build for a long time. So I think sometimes in this vintage you get things that look really old and they may or may not be. So anyway, there you go. And we had a little issue because with this nichrome wire, which we still buy from a place in Indiana. You can get them made. You have to reassemble this correctly, and we might have done something a little wrong with the sequence of ceramic and brass fittings there, and that may have resulted in our getting things wrong. In fact, let me just show you, because if anyone's out there and they see this, Hindman Industries, Hyndman. So this is a company that will still manufacture specific lengths of nichrome wire for you. And this is, for the 3 people in the world who care, this is actually good information. Because if you like the way your roaster or other thermal wire appliance operates, and the thing about these is thermal wire has to be a specific length to have a specific amount of resistance, and that's what it's heating by. So these are pre-made with a certain amount of windings, the gauge of wire, and the length, not like if I uncoiled this all the way and stretched it out, it would be the exact same length. And in fact, if anyone has the same roaster, this is the formula right here. And like I said, for the 3 people in the world who do and care, that was some prime information. So here's the original thermal wire burners, all nicely cleaned up, and we're working on the one here. One interesting thing is, if you get samples from exporters, importers, etc., a lot of people use staples to seal up bags or just to secure the zip bag, and we've had a lot of trouble with the staples falling into coffee, of course, and going into our grinder, but you have a magnet for that. But unfortunately, we've had them somehow fall into our burners, and when that happens, it creates a kind of thermal short and overheats, and that's what just ruined our most recent little thing. In fact, it actually burnt the ceramic. It got so hot. So these are a little tricky, and I'm sure we should do a conversion to like a kind of infrared type burner, but if anyone wants to share information in the comments about that, I'm sure people would appreciate knowing how, because when you get an old roaster like this, the most amazing thing is the quality of the build of the barrels and the quality of the drive mechanism. And that just seems to be something that, sure, the new ones are really good, but they're not going to be able to make them like this again. And they just, when they run, they last forever. So there it is, B3 Probat.